how do we deal with bad days, and do we feel that they come in waves?
Okay, I like this subject.
Well, then say something about it.
Welcome back to the Harley and Malarkey Podcast, Old Dog New Tricks. Today, Brian said that he has an impromptu subject.
So I was listening to one of my favorite recording artists the other day, and they were singing a song.
Yeah.
And it was called No Bad Days. And I'm the type of person that tries to live no bad days.
Yeah.
But as I am this old dog, I'm realizing there are bad days. There are bad days, Macklemore. And so no bad days. This episode I want to be called Bad Days.
Okay.
And it's how do we deal with the bad days, right?
Okay.
I'm a positive person. I try to set it up every day. I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But inevitably, it's a big word for me.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah.
We hit divots in the road.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, how do we deal with bad days? And do we feel that they come in waves?
Okay. I like this subject.
Well, then say something about it.
Well, I think that potentially if you do live by a philosophy of no bad days, that can still be true for you. It's all about perception and how you perceive what's happening to you. And I think that you might be referencing a shitty fight that we got in as a recent bad day you had.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother
No, I'm not digging into that. But even in that, which I thought it was really horrible and shitty, I think when you're having a rough day, sometimes putting it into perspective helps.
Yes. And kind of in that no bad day is, man, when I was having a bad day the other day, I have not had the desire to drink alcohol in a really long time. But during that bad day, that recent bad day, and I feel like I've had too many bad days. I feel like the world owes me some good days now. For me, but
I think it's all about perception.
It's about perception.
Unless, like, your parent or your loved one dies, or like something like an act of God. Like,
is that a bad day? No, I'm just kidding. Mamie, I love you. I'm totally joking. I just want to see if you're listening to our podcast.
No, she's not. No, I would say there are unequivocally bad days, like losing somebody you love, maybe losing a job you love. Like, those
are probably bad days.
No, those are all bad days. But even losing a job you love, like, I do think there is this like phrase, rejection is protection. Like, going through a horrible breakup. Eventually, you're going to find the gold on the other side. You're going to find the rainbow. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I got fired from that job 6 months ago, because now I'm in this job that suits me so much better. Or I'm so glad that I got brutally broken up with, because I've learned so much about myself. I'm so much smarter and happier. And I found a man that I love even more, or a woman that I love even more. Like, I think that there are, let's say, bad days exist for sure. But a lot of the bad days, you can look at it differently.
Are you saying lemonade? What I'm hearing is lemonade.
I'm saying lemonade.
When life gives you lemons, make some lemonade. Add a little sugar to that and make some lemonade. Because who is not happy drinking some lemonade?
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. My bad days revolved around death or losing a job. It's just like stress of like, building inspection not working out the way I thought it might. Sales are down. This is happening. This is happening. The kids are being grumpy. This and this. I'm like, going, gosh, I really try so hard. Why am I constantly getting this bad vibe? And that's why I kind of mentioned like waves. This morning I woke up and I feel like, oh my God, you know what? It feels like, if you believe in the stars or the moon, the sun, whatever's going on, karma, those things, I'm like going, did I get through kind of a rough spell where things kind of flow a little bit easier? And, I know some of you people are listening right now where bad days, like F you, Malarkey. You've got quite good success and you've got a beautiful woman and you've got, healthy kids and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to hear about your bad days. And again, bad days is different for everyone.
Yeah. And I think maybe we can talk about a little bit. I have a different perception on bad days and how to get through bad days. And I think that as I've gotten older, 34 now.
Happy birthday, Harley D.
Thank you. I've become a little bit more comfortable with the more difficult times in life because I know there's good on the other side of them. And I have dedicated my life to continually growing and improving. Like that really feels like my life's mission is to always become a better, happier version of myself. And so when I'm kind of down in the dumps and I'm having like a couple weeks where I just feel like I'm getting kind of beat up, I try and look at it as I'm like, I'm like the grain of sand in the pearl that's getting softened and becoming beautiful. Like, all those rough things, you have an opportunity with what you do with it. Like you can let the hard times make you more bitter and angry at the world. You can ask questions like, why is this happening to me? And you can kind of throw yourself a pity party, get stuck, just wait for the tides to change.
Be the victim.
And be no different. Be the victim, be no different than you were before. Or you can take those hard times and be like, what is this trying to teach me about myself? Like, why am I having this strong of a reaction to something? What is something that I could heal within myself? How can I prevent this from happening again? Or if this is inevitably going to happen again, how can I strengthen myself so that next time this happens, then I'm a stronger boat, that I can handle bigger waves? And so I think you can take these opportunities of when life isn't as easy to become a stronger, healthier human being. And then you can look at them as like, yeah, this sucks, but this is good for me. This is going to teach me something.
When I thought of this subject, I thought of like what I was going to say, but now that you're saying these things, this is brilliant. This is so good. How to turn your grain of sand into a pearl.
Yeah.
You are my pearl. That's beautiful. I absolutely love that. So the bad days are actually good?
I think so. Most of them. We'll give you that there are unequivocally bad days. We'll say that. But I think most bad days, eventually you could say like, that was good for me.
We'll say a lot of bad days.
Or good came out of that. Good came out of it. It doesn't have to all be good, but you can usually find something, even in the rough stuff, even in losing like a family member or a parent.
Now we're knocking off the family members. That's good.
No, but just like people talk about grief.
Well, I mean, there's a few, right? I mean, every family's got a few.
Every family has a few. No, and there's never going to be just good that comes from losing somebody you love. But I think that if you allow yourself to experience...
What if you just like them a lot? I'm sorry, I'm just on to it.
If you allow yourself to experience the true like depth of that pain and the grief of losing somebody you love, I think a lot of people mention how it makes them realize how much more precious life is, because life doesn't go on forever. Life is finite and you lose the people you love, and you might as well really appreciate them while you're here and really appreciate your experience of life while you're here. So even death, which is one of the, most painful things, can bring more life into your life.
Whoa, this is so much more than I thought we were going to get on this one.
Well, what did you have to say?
I was just like, I was going to throw myself a pity party and be like, oh, just keep plugging away, keep adjusting, it's like, football, right? My plays that I had lined up for the day aren't working. So I have to adjust on the playing field. I'm like, oh my God, this is coming at me. I got to take this on. I got to do this, and kind of just being agile and ready to, maneuver into a new situation and go, okay, that didn't work. And now how am I going to make that work?
Yeah.
For example, Chef's Life oil gets picked up by Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But I'm on the bottom shelf. And I'm like, well, that's not cool. So how do we make that a good move? So I have a new marketing theory coming out now. And I was like people adjust and make a bad situation into a good situation. If you just think about it and open yourself up to it, you can figure out how to turn something you didn't initially think as positive into a positive. And we'll see if it works. Watch my marketing campaign that I have coming out. But that's kind of what I was thinking about. Yours is so much deeper, more original, and more heartfelt. I'm really just discovering once and again how really shallow I am.
I can reframe it, which I think that you are a wizard in the outer world. In the material world, you know how to move things around. You can come up with any solution in the material world. You can fix anything. You can come up with a solution for anything. That is your gift. I am a wizard of the inner world. I can take any kind of difficult situation, any hard time, tragedy, and I can turn that into gold and into beauty. And I think that's why we're a good match.
I love that. I really love that. So is Macklemore right? That's what I'm really asking. Are there no bad days? Because in your world, there are no bad days.
I mean, I still will say there are bad days, but yeah, I think that
It's like life debilitating disease, like something really happens bad. That's a bad day.
I think there are bad days, but you can find good even in the bad days.
Strength.
Yeah, you can find good in any bad day if you look for it.
That takes me back to the other day. I was having a bad day and I would die for a martini, 4 bottles of wine. I would die and you know why exactly it is exactly why I think I drank a lot in the first place, was just to shut it off. Like, you know what? Just give me a few hours reprieve from my troubles. Just take it away. But then thinking it through more and more and more, I'm like, well, fuck, you do get sober. You will wake up. There is tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do that where they suppress their emotions with alcohol, drugs, exercise, food, whatever their suppression mechanism is. And man, I sure want to use my mechanisms. And the problem is the problem. Or, as you say, the solution is just still going to be there, you know? So the sooner you can get into the inners, as I am the outers, you know, and figuring out what the best way to tackle that challenge is and move forward as healthy and happily as you can, you're going to have to deal with it one way or another.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a lot easier to deal with it without a hangover.
It's a lot easier to deal with that without a hangover.
I think just always understanding, like when you're going through a hard time, like that bad days don't last forever. Like we all have bad days. Bad days make us really appreciate the good ones. When you've had like a lot of bad days in a row and you wake up having a good day, you really have an extra little kick in your step.
True that. And, you know, you can do it, you know, Mercury retrograde. You can, we have a lot of ways that we like to place blame on these situations. Like, oh my God, my moon is rising. This is coming, like the world's in chaos. And we just got through this election and all these things, like, you know, it'll get better. It'll get better. It's adjusting. And that's okay. That's almost a mechanism also to like kind of place blame on something or give it
just don't
an excuse.
Place blame on your girlfriend, or then you're going to cause 2 bad days instead of 1.
I didn't do that, did I?
Sometimes you do.
Again, a whole other podcast right now. Yeah. So there's an old saying in the cowboy world, in the horse world, in the world, is if you get bucked off, what do you do?
Get right back on that horse.
You get right back on that horse, right? And there was a few horses I got back on 5, 6, 7 times. I'm looking at my mom, my stepfather, like, I don't know if that's really working here. This horse is really determined that I will not get back on. Get back on. Get back on. Well, you know, my body's a little bit broken right now. Get back on the horse. And so I got back on that horse. And I think that's life also. Yes, you can get setbacks, you can get rejection, you can get these things, but it's like another nice one is, you know, these famous actors in Hollywood. If you ever hear most of their stories, I'm sure some of them just became famous immediately, but most of them faced rejection, and they kept going into it with an open heart, an open soul, open mind, and going, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and they just kept, you know, breaking through the glass. Like, I'm going to get it this time. I'm going to get it this time. And it's that blind belief, I think, that drives me for sure, is even when you fail, as you say, there is success.
Yeah.
And you really
always
just have to keep going and pushing forward and breaking through. And sometimes you got to go take a nap, get into the fetal position, absorb your thoughts, take a walk, take a run, eat healthy, as you tell me. That helps your mind get you through these things. And really watching, you know, teenagers go through those really troubling times and just going, it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
I think that you are getting better at this, maybe a little bit, of just like accepting that like not every day is good. Not every day goes according to plan. And I think that when you accept that that's how life is and don't fight that that's how life is, like you will have an easier time. Just like, yeah, not every day is going to be rainbows and sunshine. And the last time I had a cloudy, stormy day, I got through it. I learned something new. I was able to dust myself off and get through it. And so just having the confidence that you've gotten through every single one of your bad days up until this point in time, and you'll get through every single bad day that comes to you. Try not to let each bad day feel like the end of the world, because it's not.
Yeah. Thanks for teaching me
Yeah.
how to get through no bad days.
Good. Follow us on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. Leave us a rating and review. We love it. Send us any questions.
Yeah, I dare you to.